So I posted that video in kind of in heat. I got back into a Twitter altercation. I was going to 86 that video and not post it because I thought it might have been too harsh. But the response seems to be measured, and yeah, all the response is Christians except for JB. But, you know, and yeah, except for JB. But the response seems to be measured and somewhat productive. So I'll talk more about the subject. CC, I'm not going to mention who Peter is because I don't want this to be more inflammatory than it needs to be. But any of these people will tell you. Stephanie will tell you. I'll tell you in private. So okay, what's the thing? The thing is, in the particular altercation, okay, they have Stephanie in Nazi uniform. First of all, think of how outlandish and unfair this is. Now, I'm not justifying Stephanie. Sometimes Stephanie, the tweets that Stephanie says that are quote-unquote controversial, they're usually controversial. She usually said something impolitic or I wouldn't have said. So I'm not justifying the actual tweets. But there's a scam that they run, and it's a scam. It's a total scam. Here's something from 6 months ago where Stephanie said something awful, and they just recycle it. So she never gets to walk away from it, never gets to live it down, never gets to grow in their sight. Here, I told you she's a terrible person. Here's what she said a year ago about Christopher Hitchens and cancer. Now, the things she said about Christopher Hitchens and cancer, she probably shouldn't have said. Okay, that's why I don't usually publicly defend her. But most of this stuff is a scam. So here's how the scam worked on Friday. Peter puts her in a Nazi uniform. Oh, ha, ha, ha. She looks like a Nazi soldier. This is fun. No, it's not fun. It's stupid and evil and dumb. It's stupid, evil, dumb. It's not an honest tactic. Anybody who's participating like it is an honest tactic should check themselves. Why? Because they're dishonest and corrupt. If you defend that tactic, there's something wrong with you. Promise. Promise. You're just trying to publicly humiliate her. But then let's examine the thing. Let's examine the actual incident itself. Think about how ridiculous this actually is. Here, Stephanie, here's the worst crime in human history. Justify it in a way that's philosophically satisfying for everybody who's listening in a YouTube chat, no less, or God doesn't exist. Think about how ridiculous that is. That's actually what happened. That's why I don't usually participate in that crap. Why? Because it's a scam. They're just trying to set you up to make you look bad. And Stephanie started to learn that the hard way because they did it to her enough times, and now she's not falling for it anymore. Still falls for it a little. Still falls for it a little. I mean, ideally, we should all check our words and try and be politic. But, you know, reality, you sometimes try to overshoot and say something and you try to, you know, you get caught up in the moment. The idea that you now take the worst thing that somebody said or the weakest thing that they said and you pretend like that's the only thing they ever said, that's not a fair tactic. It's not. It's not even close. It's not even close. It's not even close to close. It's not even in the ballpark of a fair tactic. It's not even in the like parking lot selling hot dogs. That's how far from the ballpark it actually is. It's not even in the parking lot where they're selling hot dogs. So it's not in the ballpark. It's not in the parking lot next to the ballpark. It's like on the road a mile from the stadium. That's how far away it is from a fair tactic. It's not even close. First of all, asking somebody to justify the Holocaust kind of means you don't really want to have a real conversation. I got hip to that one of the first times I was on Twitter. This guy starts saying basically justify the Holocaust, Craig, or, you know, God doesn't exist. And I played along. A little later on, I got hip to the fact of the scam because he came back like a week later and he goes, yeah, you know, when you were saying God was too busy to solve the Holocaust, like, what on earth? What do you think exactly I said to you? It's like, you said God was too busy to solve the Holocaust. You know, you participate a few times. You realize that these people aren't really playing for real. They don't want to have a real conversation. They just want to steer you into a blind alley so they can go, you know, ha, 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 the world up is down, black is white, God doesn't exist. See, we told you. And then run away and pat themselves on the back, give each other high fives. It's stupid. Stupid. It's stupid to participate in it, honestly. That's the only mistake that I made is I didn't listen around. I swear to God, that's the only mistake I made. Because I wasted that Friday, and then I wasted this Monday on the same person, some of the same arguments. The deviousness with which this person approaches his interaction with other human beings is truly mind-boggling. It's truly horrifying. It's truly scary. I knew drug addicts back in the day, in real life. I knew street people, like really, really scary, hardcore people. I did. He's very similar. Very similar mindset. You got to be careful of street people. Because why? Because they'll cut your throat. Everything on the surface is a different way than what's actually going on underneath the surface. And underneath the surface, there's some scary-ass people. You got to be careful of them. And he's kind of one of them. I swear to God, he's kind of one of them. So slippery. He started saying to me today, I agree to have a chat with him. I'll put Robert Reed back, I don't want to disrespect Robert Reed because once upon a time I actually truly loved the guy. I really did. I really thought he was a good guy. And, I could tell when I said that to him, I said, used to love you, it hurt him. And I'm laughing because it's good. That shows that he isn't so far gone that you can't reach him. Hurt him. Good. It should hurt him. Because I want to love him again. I want him to be a good guy again. And if he's palling around with him, acting, even if you're in the thread with the scumbag, and you aren't doing the scumbag stuff, you're still kind of guilty. And that, as has been pointed out to me, those 10 people dogpile. That's what they do. That's all they do. They dogpile, they try to browbeat you, they try to humiliate you. There's no reason to interact with them at all. We should have listened to Ron, all of us. Should have listened to Ron a long time ago, not interacted, not click on the link. Robert Reed is not one of them. He's truly a good person in some ways. And if he doesn't pal around with them too much, go chat with Reed one-on-one. You'll like him. You'll probably like him because sometimes he's really nice. He can really be a nice guy. And like I said, Nick's mom, Jen, is a sweetheart. I love her. I think she's awesome. But, she doesn't come around anymore. They probably all, they gaslight and they brainwash. That's the scam on Stephanie. They've turned Stephanie into Attila the Hun because she's got a couple faults here and there. Says something in politics every once in a while. It's a total scam, and everybody, we know it. We know it. So I guess that's all I will say on this subject again. I'll post this maybe, and then hopefully never think about it again. I might post one other video on the Florida line thing because I think there's actually something to be learned from how they're reacting to that particular tweet. I really do. Because they're pretending like, I can't... I explained it in depth in the other video. They explain it, they're pretending like I said something wildly outlandish that I didn't say. And that's happened. I'm going to make a video about Atheist Experience because Matt Dillahunty did the same thing on Atheist Experience, this guy who called up. And I'll explain that in one of my next videos coming out soon. So there you have it, kids. By the way, that Book of Job thing, that's what I said. Dr. Josh is kind of cool, guys. He really is. And Skylar is not, he loses his cool and he'll say things like eat a bag of dicks. He can lose his cool and act obnoxious, but he isn't trying to humiliate people. That's the difference. He's dealing with the substance of what you're arguing. He defended Stephanie when she was in the Nazi uniform. He said literally, this is too far. This isn't cool. This isn't. So did that counter-apologetics, another atheist there that I didn't like that defended Stephanie. So I'm keeping score. I swear to God, I'm keeping score. JB's a good guy. Talk to JB all you want. He's sweet disposition, nice personality. Renee's a stellar character. Stellar. Good kid. Good kid. I'm keeping score. And I promise they're not going to like it because people are going to know I'm telling the truth about them. I'm a really good judge of character, and I'll tell you straight up if someone's Skylar fiction sometimes gets too, sometimes it gets inflamed, and sometimes he's just trying to, sometimes he gets out of control and starts saying and doing things. But that's different. That's in the heat of the moment. He's not doing that only. His argument against inspiring philosophy in the Book of Job, he was actually arguing the substance of inspiring philosophy's argument. He was using too much inflammatory language, but he was arguing the substance of the debate. He's not just trying to humiliate people. And Dr. Josh shouldn't put him in the category at all. He's good. He's good. Look, he comments on my videos. He always, he's always fair. And, if you're reasonable with him, he'll be reasonable back. So, there you have it, kids. That's all for now. Mass is ended. Go in peace. Amen.